Good evening, and welcome to your AIDailyPress Evening podcast for June 23, 2025. Firstly, we've been following the escalating tensions between the United States and Iran after the U.S. strike on Iran's nuclear sites. The situation remains volatile, with Iran vowing to retaliate against the U.S. and considering closing the Strait of Hormuz, a critical waterway for international oil trade. Diplomats are scrambling to de-escalate the situation, but according to former senior U.S. diplomat Alan Eyre, diplomacy is currently dead due to the ongoing attacks and lack of willingness from key players to negotiate. Secondly, we've been covering the NATO summit in the Netherlands, where leaders gathered to discuss defense spending and strategic priorities. The U.S. has been pushing its allies to meet the agreed-upon target of 2% of their GDP on defense, but some countries are struggling to commit to this goal. The debate over defense spending is not just about meeting a numerical target, but also about what governments spend their money on and how they can work together more efficiently to defend Europe. Lastly, we've been analyzing the complexities of the U.S.-Iran standoff, including the historical background of U.S.-Iran relations, the role of other countries in the region, and the potential consequences for global stability and economy. We'll continue to bring you updates and in-depth analysis on these developing stories as more information becomes available. That's all for tonight. Thank you for joining us on the AIDailyPress Evening podcast. Until next time, I'm Walter, and will keep you informed with fair, balanced, and expert analysis of the world's most pressing stories. And that's the way it is. Now for the latest in social and cultural news, here is Barbara Waters.
Thank you, Walter. Firstly, we're following the aftermath of the U.S. airstrikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. The situation is complex, with reactions from global leaders ranging from condemnation to calls for restraint. Russian President Vladimir Putin has criticized the U.S. strike as an unprovoked act of aggression, while China has expressed concerns about the potential consequences. We'll continue to monitor the situation and provide updates as more information becomes available. In related news, commercial airlines are reassessing their flight routes through the Middle East due to safety concerns and airspace closures. Several major carriers have suspended flights to and from Dubai, Qatar's Doha, and other regional hubs. While some airlines are resuming services, others are diverting or canceling flights, citing fears of accidental or deliberate shoot-downs of commercial air traffic. Lastly, we're keeping a close eye on the potential succession crisis in Iran, where the future of the country hangs in the balance. The Iranian nuclear strike has raised questions about the potential for escalation and the impact on global stability. Dr. Ali Vaez, Iran Project Director at the International Crisis Group think tank, notes that if Hassan Khomeini were to succeed, it could potentially pave the way for a more moderate approach. But if Mojtaba Khamenei takes over, it would likely mean continued confrontation with Israel and the West. We urge all parties involved to exercise restraint and work towards peaceful resolutions. We'll continue to bring you updates on these developing stories as more information becomes available. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll be back with more news after this break. Now, for the latest in business and finance, here's Louis Riskweiser.
Thank you, Barbara. We've had quite an eventful few days in the world of finance and geopolitics. Let me bring you up to speed. Firstly, we saw some significant market movements following the U.S. strike on Iranian nuclear sites. The attack sent shockwaves through financial markets, with Asian currencies and stocks feeling the brunt of it. Oil prices surged, and central banks in Asia are on high alert, watching for potential supply disruptions. In other news, the European Union and Canada are set to sign a landmark security and defense partnership, marking a substantial strengthening of ties between the two entities. This pact will cover areas such as defense, trade, and digital governance, with Canada potentially participating in the EU's €150 billion Joint Military Procurement Fund. Lastly, we took a look at the Indian market, where the financial services sector is showing promise with PE investments. Some big winners include Swiggy, Aditya Birla Capital, and BL. That's all for now. We'll continue to bring you updates as more information becomes available. Thank you for joining us on this evening's edition of the AI Daily Press. Stay informed, and we'll see you soon. Now for the latest in science and technology, here is Carl Starman.
Thank you, Lewis. Firstly, we looked at the groundbreaking work of the Vera C. Rubin Observatory, which is set to revolutionize our understanding of the universe. The observatory's ability to capture unprecedented amounts of data will help scientists uncover new insights into dark matter, dark energy, and the formation of galaxies. We also explored the recent breakthrough in testing the RS-25 engine, a crucial component of NASA's Space Launch System. This achievement brings us one step closer to returning humans to the Moon, and eventually, sending them to Mars. Additionally, we delved into the challenges astronomers face in detecting atmospheres around the TRAPPIST-1 star system, a prime target in the hunt for extraterrestrial life. Researchers have discovered microflares emanating from the star, which may be interfering with our ability to observe the planet's atmospheres, and potentially affecting their ability to support life. Lastly, we touched on the significance of the Vera C. Rubin Observatory's LSST camera, the successful testing of the RS-25 engine, and the importance of perseverance in the face of new discoveries in the search for life beyond Earth. That's all for tonight's summary. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the cosmos. Until next time, I'm Carl, and I bid you a clear sky and a curious mind. Now for the latest in sports, here's Howard Closewell.
Thank you, Carl. Tonight, we're going to summarize the latest news from the world of sports. First off, in the NFL, several teams have made significant moves to bolster their rosters. The Chicago Bears, led by new head coach Ben Johnson, have been aggressive in addressing key needs on their roster. The Washington Commanders have acquired star wide receiver Deebo Samuel, but at cost, sacrificing valuable draft capital. Meanwhile, the Denver Broncos have taken a methodical approach under head coach Sean Payton, adding key players to their offense and defense. The New England Patriots have also made headlines with the addition of several high-profile veterans, including Morgan Moses, Carlton Davis, and Stephon Diggs. However, these moves raise questions about the franchise's long-term vision. In college basketball, we had the pleasure of sitting down with Kate, the athletic trainer for the University of Louisville's men's team. Nicknamed Kate the Great, she shared her experiences navigating a season plagued by injuries and her approach to rehabilitation. Her dedication and expertise have earned her the respect and admiration of the team and coaching staff. Finally, in Major League Baseball, we've been following the latest developments from spring training. While there haven't been any major surprises, teams are starting to take shape as they prepare for the upcoming season. That's all for tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in to the AI Daily Press Evening podcast. Until next time, I'm Howard, and we'll see you on the field. Now for the latest in travel and human interest, here is Charles Curel.
Thank you, Howard. First, we took a closer look at the impact of global commerce on local communities, as Japan's largest retailer announced plans to acquire a significant stake in Walmart's Japanese operations. However, our first article actually explored how Japan is not involved, and instead looked at the decision of Kroger, one of the nation's largest grocery store chains, to close approximately 60 stores over the next few months. This move has sparked concerns among residents who rely on these stores as community hubs and vital sources of fresh food. Next, we celebrated the life and legacy of Frederick W. Smith, the founder and former CEO of FedEx Cow. His remarkable journey from a small town in Mississippi to revolutionizing global commerce is an inspiring example of American entrepreneurship and perseverance. Mr. Smith's commitment to his community and philanthropic efforts have left a lasting impact on the city of Memphis and beyond. Lastly, we examine the potential consequences of Kroger's store closures on communities across America. As we continue to follow this story, we'll be exploring the ways in which local leaders and residents are responding to these changes and working to preserve community institutions. These stories highlight the complexities of commerce, community, and the human spirit. As we navigate the shifting landscape of retail and global commerce, it's essential to remember the dignity of ordinary work and the importance of preserving community institutions. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the heart of America. Until next time, good night and goodbye. And that completes our evening podcast for today. Thank you for listening. Until tomorrow morning, I'm Charles Curl for AI Daily Press, the world's most unbiased news source.